Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd, and I am a huge fan of cars used in old British TV series filmed between the late 1950s and late 1990s. Join me on a journey as we look back on over 40 years of British television and its relationship with the automobile. I made a selection of videos last year talking about a lot of these series, and I'm doing it again to make them even better. Well, from one series about time travel to another one, and this time it's actually a good one. It's raining today, like it is in Manchester an awful lot, because that apparently is the rainiest city in Britain. So we must be talking about life on Mars. Now, this was broadcast between 2006 and 2007. I hear, actually, from the information I've seen today, that there is a third series apparently being filmed, or planned anyway. I mean, obviously, at this current situation, they can't really film anything, but it might be coming back, which is very exciting. So, the premise of Life on Mars, for those of you who don't know, and I don't think that's very many of you, because this is by far the most popular series I think that anyone's ever voted for in the Cars and Television series. The premise is that Sam Tyler, who is a detective with the Greater Manchester Police in 2006 and drives a rather nice Rover 75 press car. Anyway, so he drives his nice 75 press car, but he also has a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and he's underneath the kind of Manchester Ring Road when he gets run over by a MkII Cavalier. We'll go into the details about the MkII Cavalier a bit later, but apart from waking up in hospital, he actually wakes up in 1973, and his Jeep Grand Cherokee has changed into a Rover 3500 V8. He's wearing some weird clothes, and he just looks strange. There's a lot less traffic around, and everybody doesn't know that, that John Lennon's dead, for example, and things like that. And he tries to integrate himself into the force. Apparently, when he was on his way from Hyde, another part of Manchester, to be part of their team, he's had an accident, which he sort of explains away because of his come from Hyde, and he's supposed to be transferring to a new place under the watchful eye of Gene Hunt. I don't have to say much about Gene Hunt. You all know who Gene Hunt is. Who is supported in his work by Ray Carling and Chris Skelton. So it's Philip Glenister as Gene Hunt, Dean Andrews as Ray Carling, and Marshall Lancaster as Chris Skelton. There's also a WPC, Annie Cartwright, played by Liz White. Those are the main characters. Out of all of them, Gene Hunt is the least sympathetic. He's a bit of a bore, really, but we kind of like that. I mean, he's a very, very well-known and popular character on television. Annie Cartwright, of course, is the most sympathetic when he starts doing really weird stuff, like kind of imagining that he's in Camberwick Green, or the test card girl from the test card F 1967 has come to life, and things like that. But right at the end of the series, there's 8 episodes, I think, per series, and right at the end of it, episode 8 of series 2, he jumps off a building, and he kind of comes to realize that he's in hospital and he's having delusions, but that Gene Hunt is some kind of tumor. I don't really want to get into kind of what Ashes to Ashes and Life on Mars really mean, because I don't really know. Maybe when we talk about Ashes to Ashes, we'll get into that more. But I'm here to talk about cars. I'm not here to talk about, brain trauma and philosophy. So we'll get on with that now. So, of course, everything that you want to be hearing about life on Mars is that there is a Cortina, a bronze Cortina, bronze Mark III Cortina, specifically a 1974 Cortina 2000E. KJM212K is a plate you most frequently see on screen, but that's a fake plate. The car doesn't date from 1972 or something like that, which that would indicate it actually dates from 1974. It's been retrofitted as a Cortina 2000 GXL at the front end, so it looks a bit older. That car is now worth an awful lot of money, as you can imagine. It's a bit of a fake. It's a bit of the sort of bits and pieces, but it looks very good. In the 5th and 7th episodes of the first series, there's also a 1972 Capri Special 2000 GT. In the 5th episode, that wears a fake plate, but in the 7th episode, it wears its real plate, VPU 640L, which would suggest that car was supplied by the Ford Motor Company, although I'm not actually sure. In episode 7, there's a Hillman Avenger 1500 Super Estate. Now, it's a 72 model, so in the series timeline, that'll be quite new, but it looks knackered, and they actually respray it and blow it up in the next series, so, it's obviously not in that nice condition. It's HLG 118K. In the 8th episode, there is a car chase with a Rover 2000. A 1966 model of a P6. Now that gets a bit trashed, and to be honest, you can see from the episode that it's pretty rusty and pretty nasty. But anyway, it's HRX 395D. In the first episode of the second series, there's a 1972 Triumph GT6. That's on fake plates. And in the second episode, there's a lovely 1973 Alfa Romeo Giulia Super, HON 46L. Now that car is pre-facelift. There was a very final facelift for that model of Giulia, which had been in production since 1962. In 1974, and one of my friends who, funny enough, lives in Manchester, actually owns one. But this is a pre-facelift one, and it is very, very nice in blue. I can't believe it's taken me this long to talk about Allegros, but you have to talk about Allegros in Life on Mars because there's absolutely loads of them. They are mainly used as police panda cars. The one that we know most about is a 1976 Allegro Series 2 1500 Super Deluxe PFV 525P. Now that car normally wears false plates, clearly, because why is it be too new? But if you're a real Allegro expert, then you'll be able to see that is a Series 2, not a Series 1 Allegro. Also, in the second episode, there is a 1972 Bedford CF Morrison Ice Cream Van. That's very nice. In the first episode, there is a Ford Zephyr 6 police car, a black one, which reminds me of Z cars, I suppose, but that one has a nice false plate on it. It's a 65 model, but it has a G plate on it, so it must be false. In the third episode of the second series, there's a 1966 Hillman Super Minx, which is on an E plate, although it's a 66 model. That's got some nice road styles on it. The car that Sam Tyler has at the start of the title sequence, which is obviously from the first episode, is a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee. We don't really see much about it other than we know it's a limited model. I don't think we even see the plate of it. The car that knocks him down, interesting one. It's a Cavalier Mark II. The only time we really sort of see a decent picture of it is when it's all tilted on its side. And that car, I think, is still around. It was certainly around in 2017. It's changed hands a couple of times since the series. And I thought, they just used that because it was a cheap car to knock someone over in. But it's actually got quite a following. And it's probably on Sawn at the moment. It hasn't had an MOT for a couple of years. But anyway, it's a Cavalier Mark II GLSI E599SRJ, a local plate to Manchester. And, maybe at some point I will see it. Surprisingly, in Life on Mars, there are some, number of cars, but a lot of them are used just like in the background. They're not used for chases or, for anything kind of meaningful. So I don't really actually have that much to talk about in terms of the cars on Life on Mars, other than what I've already said. But anyway, in the 7th episode, the car that crashes into the Rover P6 that's trying to get away from the police is a 1972 Vauxhall Viva HC Deluxe. Now, my parents used to have one of those in the 70s, and they weren't very good, apparently. Not that I held anything against them personally, of course. In the 2nd episode, there is a nice fake plate on the 71 Triumph Toledo. The Rover 75 press car that John Simm drives in the 1st episode in the year, what's supposed to be the year 2006. It was filmed in 2005, Life on Mars, for the first series anyway. What is a Rover 75 2.5 V6 Contemporary SE. Very, very nice. Now, that car was registered right at the end of 75 production. Rover went bankrupt in April 2005, so would be one of the last press cars, I think, they would have ever supplied to any series. BX05 KCJ. I'm not a huge fan of the contemporary spec for 75s. I prefer a nice connoisseur with some wood and leather, but if the contemporary's your bag, then that's okay, I suppose. In the 4th episode of the 2nd series, there's a very lovely 1973 Lotus Elan Sprint, the Lotus Elan Sprint, NYL1L, which I think is a real plate, actually. In the 8th episode of the 2nd series, so the last episode of Life on Mars, there's a very nice Mercedes 250. It's W114 shape. It's from 1968. And the last car I'll talk about in Life on Mars, I can't really not talk about this one, is the Rover 3500 V8 from 1972, which Sam Tyler kind of wakes up around and realises is supposed to be his car, though he never drives it, actually, which I think is strange. It has all this significance to him, but he never drives it. In fact, he doesn't drive too many cars at all, particularly. Most of driving's done by Gene Hunt, it seems. But anyway, that one's SHK 949K. Stupid question, but is Life on Mars worth watching today? It's only been 14 years since the series started, and, well, you'd be able to tell me that more than I would. I mean, it's the most popular series ever voted for cars on television, so, well, I think probably. I don't know why. I think I prefer Ashes to Ashes for some reason. Don't really know why, but that's all I could say about it. But yes, get the DVD set and look forward to the new series that's coming out. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Well, we've got more TV series coming up this week. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below. And visit my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and also my Instagram page, Lloyd Vehicle Consulting.